Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are featuring one of Sinn's most iconic watches to date, and that is the Sinn U1. But what we have here is the SE version. This came out a few years back, and even though it's been out for quite a few years, you hardly ever see them, so it's really quite a joy to get to see one, in the metal. They really do look fantastic. They really have a cool look about them. This design itself has been out for 20 years. This was at a time when Sinn was after something which really would kind of put them on the map as such. They had the EZM1 before, which was doing really well, but then Le Manier restricted sales of the movement. And so they were left high and dry, and they came up with this wonderful design here, and it is iconic to Sinn. You see a U1, you know immediately what brand it actually is. It's got a real cool look to it. But before I get too far into this review, I've got to say a massive thank you to the team over at First Class Watches of Kenilworth for allowing me to review this piece. Lots of cool, interesting brands. Many you'll know, many you may not know. So if you're in the Kenilworth area, I strongly recommend popping along to the shop. If you're a little bit further afield, well, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description and at the bottom of the page now. All I ask, if you do contact them, please mention the channel. So let's talk sizes first. We have a case size of 43 millimeters. The bezel size is 44 millimeters. The thickness of the watch is coming in at 14.7 millimeters. The lug to lug is 50.5, and the strap size on this one is 22 millimeters. Now the dial is classic Sinn U1 here. The Lego hour markers. I tell you what, when this watch first came out, I must admit, I wasn't keen on these Lego style hands. There was something about them which I didn't really resonate with me. But over the years, I have grown to love them. So much so that, if I were to zoom out a little bit here, you may be used to Sinn boxes like these, but Sinn also make little travel cases as well. You'll know that they also released it on their U15 like we see here. So it's the same handset, and I actually really like it on this one. So it's strange how taste can change. But it's got that lovely black matte background to it. And then you've got his heavily contrasted kind of tan style hands and hour markers. There's something really kind of, it's almost designed, form following function almost. You've got, I love the fact that you've got these half markers here, and then they're doubled up on the quarters. It just looks kind of cool. And especially on this watch, it almost looks pixelated when you see the hand going close to it. I love the fact that as this goes over the second hand, it just marries up. It forms one complete block. It's something very cool. So much so, I like this design that much. The clock I designed, I designed and made myself. I actually did kind of take complete inspiration from the U1 handset. It's just one of those things. The loom on this watch isn't bad, it's pretty good, but because you have got these tan markers, I'd say it's not as strong as when you see it against the white hour markers you see on some of their other models. I like the fact that the actual minute markers are done in this kind of grey look as you see on the second hand. And again, the dial is kept nice, simple and clean. You've just got the Sinn script up there, very nice kind of how they do it, it looks good. The U1 automatic in Deutsch and 1000 meters 100 bar. So this is a 1 kilometer capable diver. Now if you've known anyone who's ever gone that deep, I would be thoroughly impressed, but I personally haven't, so there you go. But anyway, it is a cool thing to say, and it's got great pub bragging rights. So anyway, as we come past that, you can see, one of the things as well you should notice here, the inner actual ring around there looks like they have actually gone for a full black one as well. And then you can just see the edge of a crystal and the gasket, I'm presuming that must be the edge of a crystal there. You do have a date window at the 3 o'clock position with a black background, which just makes it blend in perfectly. There's something just right about that dial. The crystal is actually a flat crystal, but it does have AR on both sides, because as you can see, it just disappears. That crystal almost looks like it disappears. Some people don't like AR being on the outside, but I personally do. I think it looks really, really good. If you do scratch it, you know, who cares? You can remove it if need be. Now, as we come past that one, we're greeted with this bezel. The bezel on this is just superb. It's got that kind of cool look to it. It looks really good. All these markings on here have actually been ground in. So let me just double check that before I... Yep, you can feel them going. So you shouldn't have any problem with those wearing out at any stage. If I check the bezel action, very solid clicks. 60 click bezel. So what I mean by it is every single click is 1 minute. Is there back play? Yeah, it locks in. The reason why is back play, let me show you on one of these. I've got a few spare bezels here. Is it's as the spring, can I just show it? As the spring gets to the top, it then bounces back. You basically push it back against that wall, and that's where it comes from. If you've got these bezels, you can actually swap them out, and you could go for something very, very funky if you so wanted to. The bezel itself is held on with their captive bezel system. Twofold. Firstly, if you're underwater and you knock the bezel, in theory, it should lock and retain. It's got more strength this way, and basically it stops it from coming off. It is like a safety system. But also, as being a watchmaker, it is so much easier just to unback these screws off, and then you can actually just remove the bezel. It makes life a lot easier. I can, vouch for, as I've done quite a few. So let's rotate that back round. Does it line up? Well, of course it will. You do actually have adjustment holes in the case, which allows you to move a spring a fraction either way. So they actually have their own system for adjusting this. The reason why it's needed is there's no insert to this bezel. This is one machine piece. As you can see from these ones down here, there's no insert. It is just one piece. So that means when you put it on, if it, like when you've got a bezel insert model, you can always move the insert. You can unglue it and move it a fraction. These obviously cannot, so you do rely on that system for adjusting it. And to be fair, I don't think I've ever seen one which is off, so they are solid. As we come past that, we're featured with this black case. Now, this black case is followed on pretty well, I think, through the entire U series of watches. Now, what I mean by, well, one thing I should say, it does feature Sinn's tagmented technology. So that means this black hard coating is very hard, around about 1800 Vickers. We once did a test where we dragged one against the wall and it didn't damage the, it was a brick wall, it didn't damage the bezel at all. It damaged the wall, but not the actual tagmenting coating. Now, this watch came out originally as the U1 around about 2005, so I'd say 20 years old. They then, a couple of years, well, 2008 I think it was, they brought out the U2 here. Now, just to show how strong this hard coating actually is, this watch I've owned now for 12 years, and you can see how well the hard coating has kind of kept up. I think it's a slight bit there, slight bit come through there. Now, that's after 12 years. Obviously, I'm not saying it's impervious to scratches. As you can see, we've got some marks on there, but overall, it is very, very sturdy and solid. What came before this one? So this was 2008. I think the U1 came out in 2005. We have the UX. This came out, I think, a year or so after the U1. And yeah, just a great watch. So basically, you're featuring an automatic movement in this, a more advanced automatic movement, and more tech in the U2. And the UX here, it's got a quartz movement which is full of oil, as you can see from those weird angles. If you notice there, you can't see the U1's dial, but you can see the actual dial on the UX. So they're all kind of, the U series of watches have got you covered. Now, underneath the hood on this one, as you can see, it's got a solid case back. Oh, sorry, one thing I should say is the crown. The crown is big and easy to manipulate. As you can see, it's set down here, kind of just past the 4 o'clock position. And it pops out, no problem at all. First click, we go into date set. One more click, and obviously we go into hacking there. there's a good bit of thread, as you can see on that. Screw it in, and there you go. No problem at all. It's got this nice machining round the side out, or forming basically, and it makes it incredibly easy to manipulate. They've done a flat in the side of a case there. Locks in really, really nice. Now, as I say, under the hood on this one is a top grade SW200. Now, originally back in the day, there used to be the ETA 2824, sorry. But after ETA stopped releasing their movements, they did switch over to the Sleater, which is basically a copy of it. It's, you know, it's Sleater after all used to make parts for ETA. It's a 26 dual movement. The actual 2824 was 25. They added one extra. I think it was for the barrel. And this one I put on the time graph, and I believe it was coming out at +3 seconds. So generally, all Sinns tend to be very good timekeepers. They are regulated actually within the case, where if you get a chronometer spec watch, they're normally regulated outside of the case. Now, the case adds extra harmonics to the movement, and it is always better to actually regulate it while it's in the case. Also, the chronometer spec ones are -2, +4, or 6. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But Sinn don't do minus. So everything is 0 to +8, I think it is, for their specs. They'd rather you say you're early than late. So that's why they do theirs that way. It's quite an interesting way of doing it. It's got bidirectional winding. It's a good solid movement. The only thing is, don't sit there hand winding it all the time. Just wind it a few times, get it running, and then you're good to go. Now, the strap on this one is Sinn's silicone strap, but it is also available on a black bracelet like this. I must point out the retail of this watch before any kind of discounts over here in the UK is coming in at £3,025 with the silicone strap. It's about £140 more expensive if you go for the bracelet, but I'm positive you'll get a very healthy discount if you go across first class watches, at least 10% off that. So, you know, you can get some really good deals on these. They, after all, are icons and seem to last forever. The silicone strap, now I've had some people say, oh, they don't last very long or whatever, but I can testify to you that the Sinn silicone straps, I've got one here, which it's got to be about 10 years old at least. They last really well. And in fact, they've upgraded since I've had this one, because now these feature this new clasp system. So what it does, it enables you to actually adjust the sizing on it. He says this one is obviously brand new, and can I press it out? You basically lift this piece here, which it isn't playing ball for me because I think it's all stickered up, and then it allows you to slide it across and repinch this bit down. So as it's all stickered, I don't want to mess around with it because it's not my watch. But yeah, it is a much better one than what I have on this older one here. So as I say, all stickered up at the moment, so there's no marks actually on that. Overall, it is just, it's a real icon for Sinn. Lots of brands tend to copy the Rolex Submariner. It's a tried and trusted design. It looks great. But it's so nice when you have brands like this who have their own unique design. And that's one thing which does look very cool with this watch. It's not pretending to be anything else. It's got its own hand design. It's got its own case design. You know, it's just, it looks great. That's what, yeah, I'll say. Let's put it on the wrist and you've got an idea how it looks. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing my Peacock Tourbillon watch there. Not many people can say we've got a tourbillon watch because it's one of those things you don't see very often, but they are very, very cool. And Bob has a fellow German brand here, Hanhart. This is the Pioneer 12, I think it is. So I'll be doing a review of that shortly, and I will be comparing it to a Sinn 556. So I'll be quite interested on that one. My wrist size is 7¼ inches. Works out to about 18.5 centimeters, and say there's tape on it at the moment, it's not making its normal click, and that's how it looks on my wrist. One thing I should say, these black bands, you can swap them out and have different colors if you so wish. So it is kind of cool. You can customize this watch. But one thing I would say, it also looks amazing on a tan leather strap. Reason I say this, it kind of matches the hour markers on there, and it can look really, really funky and cool. So if you're after a watch which kind of has its own unique look and is built like a tank, you can't go wrong with the Sinn U1 range. They're absolutely superb. If you find that maybe it's a little bit too big for your wrists, then you can always go to something like a U50, which is basically a variation of. You can, you know, get the U50 in black as well, so to kind of match this kind of look, and you get those wonderful hands. And you know, basically you're talking from a 44mm bezel to a 41mm bezel. So that's it. Anyway, I hope you like the review, and most importantly, you'll stay safe out there. If you leave any comments, I'll always try and get back to you, but it is getting hard. So anyway, all the best, chaps, and take care of yourself. Bye.